for everyone's safety. And do not throw anything over the side of the
On
bus
your
because
left
littering
side,
is just
very
trashing.
soon, there will be one
All right,
thing
amazing. We are getting moving here.
On your
We are in
left side.
Times Square, the crossroads of the world. Take a look at the TKTS booth on our right there. That big cluster of stairs. Right underneath those stairs is TKTS. Good job. TKTS booth is an awesome spot to buy same day or next day theater tickets at up to 50% off. Great location right there in Times Square. Unfortunately, they spend so much money in rent. They ran out of money for vowels in their name. TKTS, not a vowel in sight, folks. Friends, look straight up ahead. If you see this pink glowing ball there, that is the Times Square New Year's Eve ball. Drops every year on December 31st. You may have recognized it from our televised New Year's Eve celebrations. The very first ball drop was in 1907, shortly followed by a deeper voice. It is made of over 3,200 waterproof crystals and LED lights. Take a look at that big billboard right underneath it with the people in athletic wear there. You may dream of seeing your face on that billboard, but I have some bad news for you folks. Every week, this billboard brings in $625,000 a week. That's how much it costs to have an ad right up there. $625,000. You could literally buy a house for that, or if you live in New York City, half a broom closet. But it's something, right? Something is better than nothing. Where we are in Times Square here was formerly known as Longacre Square, named after a spot in London. But it was renamed when the New York Times moved their headquarters right here to Times Square, renaming it in their honor, Times Square. Similarly, when I moved to my neighborhood in Brooklyn, I tried to get them to rename it Heidiland, but they said no. So it only works for some people, I guess. That's all right, I'll keep trying. As we turn on 42nd Street, you take a look over to the right, you'll see some of our Broadway theaters. Got the New Amsterdam and a Target, American Airlines Theater. Incredible, lots to see. All right, we are here on 42nd Street. Take a look up at this beautiful red brick building with the Beaux Arts facade on the right-hand side here. This is the Knickerbocker Hotel, which is said to be the birthplace of the martini. Yum, yum. Yes, the martini was invented right here. The man who opened the hotel, his name was John Jacob Astor IV. Unfortunately, he did die on the Titanic. So in hindsight, it's a little funny that he created a drink without ice. You know, because of the iceberg. You guys get it. You guys get it. All right. This splotch of green coming up here on the right is Bryant Park, one of our many beautiful public parks here in the city. Bryant Park is 9.6 acres and has stuff going on year-round. In the winter months, they're known for their holiday markets. It's great. A lot of local vendors come and sell their food, sell their crafts. It's amazing. I do all my holiday shopping here because it's seasonal, so it's only up for a few months, which means my family can't return all the gifts I buy them. They try to do that every year. Also in the winter months, they have ice skating, which is free if you bring your own skates. You can also rent skates, or you could steal skates, but I would not recommend that unless you can skate very fast on concrete, away from the person you stole them from. You may notice some ping pong players on the right there in Bryant Park. They actually hire a referee who's paid money to referee ping pong games. That's very intense. It is a real sport. Also, coming up in the summer months, starting in June, they have free movie screenings in Bryant Park. So fun. You can bring your own food and bev, sit, and enjoy an outdoor movie. This building here on the right is the New York Public Library. At the time of its construction, it was the largest marble building in the world, and its marble walls are 12 inches thick, yet somehow they can still hear their neighbors screaming. Just kidding, that's only in my apartment, folks. New York Public Library is home to over 50 million books. So many books, in fact, that they had to tunnel underneath Bryant Park just to make room for all of them. Yeah. But it's great because our rats get an excellent public education. Yeah, they love the books. Not only are they home to books, but also some other interesting things. They have a collection of hair from famous people. They have Beethoven's hair, Walt Whitman's hair, and Charlotte Bronte's hair, to name a few. I think my roommate is trying to get his hair in there based on how much he leaves in our shower drain. Gross. Also, if anyone is a fan of Winnie the Pooh, the original stuffed animals that those books were based on are housed in the New York Public Library. They are a little worse for wear, but it is still cool to see nonetheless. Alright, as we turn onto Fifth Ave, we are going to see the lions that guard the entrance to the library. Their names were originally Astor and Lennox, named after the founders of the library, but former Mayor Phil Rebel LaGuardia renamed them during the Great Depression Patience and Fortitude, because that is what he thought New Yorkers needed to get through the Great Depression. Personally, I would have named them Food and Jobs. Maybe Ben and Jerry's, that always gets me through a Great Depression, you know what I mean? Patience and Fortitude do prove themselves to be awesome names, though. They draw a lot of people into the library to look up what those words mean. No one knows. Alright, we're moving down Fifth Avenue here, folks, so hold on to your wallets. Money seems to fly out of your pockets and into the stores here with incredible speed. A little bit further uptown, between 49th and 60th Street, has been voted one of the most expensive shopping districts in the world several years in a row. So you will not catch me there. Alright, and crane your necks up to the right. That is the Empire State Building! Woo-hoo! There it is. Absolutely beautiful. One of the most iconic, if not the most iconic building in New York history. Empire State Building was built in 1 year and 45 days during a competition to see which building would claim the title of tallest in the world. It did win that competition at the time, but it lost in the long run. It's now the 9th tallest in the US and the 54th tallest in the world. It began construction in 1930 and completed in 1931, just in time for the Great Depression. Wonk wonk. So they finished the building and they said, "Here you go, New York, fill this building with people and jobs." And New York said, "It's the Great Depression. We don't have any jobs. Your timing literally could not have been worse." So the building got the nickname the Empty State Building, because there was no one there. And the creators were actually so worried it would seem like a failure that they hired actors to come in, ride the elevators up and down, and turn on and off the lights. Can you believe it? I wish I could have put that on my resume. What a day. It is no longer empty. It employs over 20,000 people. Although in all my years in New York, I've never met anyone who actually works there, which further proves my theory that it's made of chocolate. No one's proved me wrong yet. She's shaking her head, she's skeptical. As we come along the base here, take a look at the businesses on the side. We got a Starbucks, we got a Walgreens. You may notice that the font is a little different from their normal logos, and that is because Empire State is protected by the Landmark Preservation Act, which means that everything on the facade has to adhere to the Art Deco style of the building, and nothing structurally can be changed from the original blueprints. Yes, so that is why it looks so pretty. Really nice. Alright, we are cruising down Fifth Avenue here. As you look around, you're going to see a lot of things. But there's one thing in particular that we see a lot of here in New York, and that is scaffolding. Anybody ever heard of scaffolding? Yes? No? Yes. Well, we're going to see some of it coming up on the left in just a sec. It's a bunch of pipes, and it's not the prettiest thing, but they're up all the time, year-round, and that is because our buildings here in the city have to have their facades inspected every 5 years to make sure everything is up to code. costs so much money to take up and put down the scaffolding that a lot of businesses leave it up year round. We got some scaffolding coming up on the right and on the left here, folks. I got a little song I'd like to sing for you about scaffolding real quick as we come up on it. Here we go. What is that I see passing on the city streets? What is that I see? It's a bunch of scaffolding. It's a small part of your favorite city. Do 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 do. People might not think it's all that pretty. Do 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 do. If you blink, you might just miss it. It's a small part of your city. What is that I see? It's a bunch of scaffolding. Thank you. Thank you. I'll be here all week. Try the veal. Just kidding. All right. Scaffolding. We love it. Beautiful scaffolding. It's everywhere. Okay, coming up, we've got some sights to see. This tall, skinny building right in front of us, that is the Flatiron Building. How cool. And I have some amazing news. If anyone was hoping to move to New York after this, the Flatiron Building is currently for sale. Yes. It was actually won at auction fairly recently by a gentleman with the last name Garlick for $190 million. But when it came time for Mr. Garlick to pay his deposit of 19 mil, he disappeared and did not pay up, which means it's back on the market. What do you think, folks? Should we all go in on it together? Yes. I've got about $10 on me, so that'll be my share, and y'all can cover the rest. All right, over here on the left, we have Madison Square Park, not to be confused with Madison Square Garden. And you'll see a location of Shake Shack buried in this park there with the sloped roof. So Shake Shack actually got its roots right here at Madison Square Park as a hot dog cart and now has 200 locations across the U.S. So folks, today you may feel like a tiny hot dog cart, but tomorrow you could be spreading your carbs across the USA. It's the American dream. And you too can live that dream. All right, here's a gorgeous view of the Flatiron Building. And coming up here on the left, right on the corner, that is the Harry Potter store, Harry Potter, New York. It is the only location outside of the Universal theme parks where you can buy butterbeer. Yes, they have it hot and chilled and even in ice cream form. And they have a vegan version that was created by the vegan actress Alana Lynch, who played the wonderful Luna Lovegood in the films. I myself am also vegan because apparently all unhinged blondes are. I have come to know. All right, we are making our way down Fifth Ave. The Flatiron Building, which we just passed, is super cool. It's got a lot of history. Do we have any Spider-Man fans on the bus? Yes? Can anyone tell me the name of the newspaper Peter Parker worked for?
What?
Who knows?
Nobody knows?
It's the Daily Bugle. Yes, the Daily Bugle is correct. It is said to be located in the Flatiron Building, the Daily Bugle, for my Spider-Man fans. All right. We're cruising right along Fifth Ave here. Another thing about these Flatiron buildings, when it was constructed, at the time they were like, there's no reason why a woman would ever have a job in a building like this. So they only made men's restrooms. Can you believe that? So now, obviously, women have all the same jobs that men do, and these floors alternate. So it's a men's restroom and then a woman's restroom every other floor. So if you're looking for a place to go, just walk up or down a floor and you will find your spot. All right, we're coming up on some cool things. Over here on the right, we are passing by the Camp Store. If you have a kid or are a kid at heart, it's a great spot to check out. The front part is a normal toy store, but then there is a magic door that will lead you to a different immersive theatrical experience for kiddos. Right now they're doing a production of Encanto based off of the Disney movie. They've recreated the casita, the house from the film, and there's performers singing the songs. It is so fun. I also work at camp, so if you miss me, come visit me there. And here on the left, this modern building is the New School, a performing arts school here in NYC. It's got a lot of famous alum, including Marlon Brando, Gigi Hadid, Jonah Hill, and Bradley Cooper, that dreamboat, all went to the New School. Although with all those creative people there, I think they should think of a different name because it was founded in 1919, so it's pretty old. Maybe they should call it the Old School. I think that might be better. Amazing. All right, we're cruising down Fifth Ave here. Speaking of schools, we're going to be able to see Washington Square Park and the Washington Square Park Arch. If you look straight down the road, you may be able to see it. I'm going to squat down. Can you see the arch? A little bit. Hey. We'll see it better as we get closer. But Washington Square Park, which is directly in front of us, is sort of known as the central hub of New York University's sprawling campus. Their campus is the city, but this is really where a lot of kiddos hang out who attend that college. And this arch inside is one of 3 triumphal arches that we have here in New York. Super exciting. And we're actually going to see the second triumphal arch later on our tour. Who's excited? Woo! Wow, the enthusiasm is almost too much to bear. And we're passing the First Presbyterian Church there. Absolutely beautiful church. Yes, we love arches here. This arch in particular was built to commemorate the 100-year anniversary of George Washington, our first president's entry into office. It's hard to see from here, but on either side there are 2 sculptures of George Washington. I'll kind of show you what they look like so you get the gist. The first one is called Washington at Peace, and it looks like this. And the other one is Washington at War, and it looks like this. That's pretty much what it looks like. There's also a little myth about this arch that is popular amongst NYU students. They say that if you are enrolled in NYU and you walk underneath that arch while a student, you will not graduate in 4 years. Yeah. And folks, I can confirm that this is true because I have walked under the arch and I did not graduate from NYU. Yes. I also didn't go there, but it stands true nonetheless. Washington Square Park is also home to a large, lovely fountain you might have seen underneath the arch there. Fun fact, all of the fountains, the public fountains in New York City are completely legal to swim in. Can you believe that? Yeah, there's no rules against it. You don't see it happening too often, but that Washington Square Park fountain during the summer months definitely gets some action. There are people diving right in there. And it sounds gross, but the water there is connected to 2 32,000-gallon tanks underneath the fountain that are constantly pumping that water through and filtering it. So it is not as gross. Here on the left we have Brooklyn Bagel and Coffee Company. Great spot to get a New York bagel. Anyone here enjoyed a bagel since being in New York? Yes? What kind? Onion bagel, so good. Any toppings? Plain old onion bagel, cream cheese. Nice. Delicious. There's a certain ingredient that's said to make New York City bagels the best. Anybody know what that ingredient is? Who knows? Anybody? No? Okay, that's alright. It's water. I also would have accepted love as an answer. Friends, there will be a trivia portion of this tour, and you will be rewarded with candy if you get questions right. So, keep those thinking caps on. It's gonna be fun. Yes, our water is said to make our bagels the best, along with the love and the years of tradition, cooking them in the traditional style of kettle boiling and then baking. So good. If you want to eat like a real New Yorker, the 2 most popular bagel orders in the city are bacon, egg, and cheese, and cream cheese with lox, which is smoked salmon. Yum. So good. Personally, I like an everything bagel with tofu veggie cream cheese. That's just me. That order will literally make my father gag, but it works for me. I like it. All right. Oh, does anyone know why bagels have a hole in the middle? This is not a joke, it's a question.
Yeah, say it, say it.
It is to provide even cooking. Oh, do you know?
Yeah, I'll divide it.
Were you going to say to provide even cooking?
Yeah.
Slay. Here you go.
Oh, wow.
Congratulations. We got a Smartie on the bus. All right. Congratulations to all of my Broadway hopefuls. We've officially made it to Broadway. Woo! Yes. We are turning onto the street of Broadway right now. This is the longest street in New York. It is 33 miles long. And yeah, really exciting. I myself have actually appeared on Broadway several times. You may recognize me. I've appeared on Broadway several times looking for my keys. So let me know if you see them. I really need to get into my apartment. Coming up here on the right, these beautiful violet colored flags. This building is the Tisch School of the Arts, NYU's performing arts school. Ton of famous people have gone there, including Lady Gaga. There's Oscar award winners, Emmy award winners, Tony award winners. Every award you can imagine has been won by an NYU grad. The Tisch family in New York are super wealthy. They're valued at about $21 billion. Yes, and their philanthropy has extended throughout the city, but very notably to Tisch School of the Arts and NYU Langone, their medical school. All right. NYU has over 58,000 students, and it costs over $58,000 a semester to go there. So, you get a great education on managing your debt. Take a look, friends, at this red building here on the left, this red stone building. This is the original site of the Manhattan Savings Institution, which is home to the largest bank heist in the history of the United States. Yeah. So when this bank was constructed many, many, many years ago, it was supposed to be the most high security, impenetrable bank that no one could ever break into. Your money would be safe here forever. And so, of course, that drew in some people who wanted to test that theory. And some people did. They walked in and they broke into the janitor's apartment who lived directly above the bank. They stole his ring of keys, walked into the bank, and walked out with today's equivalent of $80 million. So, not so secure after all. That is why we now have two-factor authentication and why one man with all the keys does not live directly above the bank. We've learned from our mistakes here. All right, we are passing Houston Street. Do we have anyone from Texas on the bus? Yeah, cool. What part of Texas? Dallas. Okay. Okay, cool. This street is always confusing for people from the U.S., especially for people from Texas, because it's spelled like Houston, but it's pronounced like Houston. Yes, just two different last names, how they pronounce it. Cool. Always got to have a couple Texans on the bus. So just past Houston, which means that we have gone from the neighborhood of NoHo, north of Houston, into Soho. Woo! I feel fancy already. All right, folks, keep your eyes peeled because a lot of celebrities live here in Soho. I actually made eye contact with Jake Gyllenhaal once in Soho, and the wedding is next week. You're all invited. Just kidding. I wish. I did make eye contact with him, though. It was really cool. They're known for their celebs, also for their gorgeous architecture. Take a look at these buildings. This one on the left is a great example. So Soho has the highest concentration of cast iron buildings, really unique, beautiful architectural style. They were super popular at the time because they went up really easily with metal frames. And all of this detail work is looks like it's carved in stone, but it's actually metal that is cast into molds and applied on the facades of the building after their construction. Pretty neat. The buildings have to be painted every few years or they will rust. And if you find yourself in Soho with a magnet, you can most likely stick it onto the buildings because they are made of metal. Although I don't know if the tenants would appreciate that. Don't tell them I told you to do it if you do. You'll also notice the large, beautiful windows. Great example there on the right. So many of these buildings actually started out as factories, and those large windows allowed for a lot of natural light to come through, which meant employees could work for extended periods of time without breaks. It was not so great. They'd just be like, go stand by the window for a couple minutes and then get back to work. We do not do that anymore. But once the factories left, the artists moved into these buildings and made use of that natural light for their studios and gallery spaces. When the artists left, became kind of what it is today. Very expensive retail stores and very, very, very expensive apartments. Yes, here in Soho, so chic. Talking about expensive neighborhoods, one of the most expensive neighborhoods to live in is Tribeca, where the average cost of an apartment is about 2.5 million, and the wealthiest neighborhood is the financial district, where the average household income, the average, is about $200,000 a year. So very wealthy there. Yes. All right, we are cruising down the street of Broadway here. Broadway is a famous street, obviously because of our Broadway theaters, but there are only 2 Broadway theaters that are actually located on the street of Broadway. There are 41 in total, and 39 of them that are not on Broadway are on other streets, as you can imagine. And that is because Broadway theaters are not designated by their location within New York City, but rather by their size. So if a theater has at least 500 seats, it is considered a Broadway house. If it has between 499 and 99 seats, it's considered off-Broadway. Anything less than 99 is off-Broadway, or kind of what I'm doing, talking on a bus. A bus on Broadway. Woohoo! If everyone sings a note right now, before we turn onto Canal Street, we can all say that we sang on Broadway. Ready? 1, 2, 3. That was beautiful. Can I hear some harmony in there? Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh, the managers are going to be knocking on our door trying to get on this bus. All right, we're about to turn on to Canal Street here. It's called Canal Street because it used to be a canal. That's correct. It used to be a canal. Now it's a street. Yes, so as we turn onto Canal Street, we're going to be entering into the neighborhood of Chinatown. Has anyone visited Chinatown yet? Yes? Guys, did you enjoy it? Get some good food? Yeah? Very cool. Lots of great spots to eat here in Chinatown. Lots of historic restaurants here as well. We're also going to get to a moment where we can see Little Italy on the left and Chinatown on the right. So get your necks ready. We're going to have to turn left and right really quick. Just a little stretch there. Chinatown is home to the largest number of Chinese people outside of Asia. And some amazing food, some really cool history as well. It is home to Joyer Street, which is the bloodiest street in the history of the United States, with the most reported deaths of any other street in the country. And that is because Joyer Street has a 90-degree curve in it, also known as the Bloody Angle. And back in the 1800s, a lot of gang violence happened in the neighborhood of Chinatown, and that angle allowed people to hide and attack their enemies. And its location within Chinatown was very difficult for law enforcement to access, so by the time they got there, everything had already gone down. But it is no longer dangerous. It is really lovely, and they often paint the ground with different street art murals. It's also home to a tea shop that opened in 1927 and is still in operation on Joyer Street. Pretty cool. You'll see here on the left we have a Christian church. There's a high number of Christian churches in Chinatown, which is unusual because Christianity is practiced in China a little bit, but it is not by any means the most popular religion. That would be Buddhism or Taoism. But many, many years ago, there was an immigration law passed limiting Chinese immigration to the U.S., but there were certain exceptions. And one of those was if you're a Christian minister looking to start a church, you could move here to the U.S. from China. So that is why we have a large number of Christian churches. Little interesting history. All right, so we're gonna pass by Little Italy coming up, and Chinatown is pretty large. Little Italy is concentrated just to Mulberry Street, which is right here. Okay, get ready, everyone. Okay, ready? Look left and right. Little Italy, Chinatown. Everybody see it? Yay! Woohoo! So Little Italy used to be home to a ton of Italian immigrants, but most of them post-World War II moved elsewhere to Jersey, Long Island, and Staten Island. But there's still a ton of great Italian restaurants there in Little Italy, and Italian shops to honor the history. In fact, the first pizzeria ever in the United States, Lombardi's Pizzeria, was opened there on Mulberry Street and is still there. So, you should go there and then you'll have something to brag about for the rest of your life. Friends will be like, I ordered Domino's, and you could be like, it's not as good as Lombardi's, the first pizzeria in the US. It's awesome to be able to brag to your friends. All right, we are really getting close to our second triumphal arch here. Everyone say arches! Woohoo! This triumphal arch is going to welcome us onto the Manhattan Bridge. But there's one more cool thing I want you all to see before we get there. There's a big domed building here on the right. As we turn the corner, take a look up on the side. You're going to see the crest of New York. It is a Native American and a sailor and a bald eagle. Take a look up here as we turn. Kind of have to look backwards at it, but it's cool to see. There it is right up there. Everybody see it? Pretty neat. That's the crest of New York City. And here is our triumphal arch. As we pass over the Manhattan Bridge here, I'm going to take a seat and let you enjoy without the sound of my voice in your ear. My friend is clapping. He's like, please be quiet. So get your phones out. Awesome views up ahead. Just a reminder, please remain seated and don't drop your phone over the side of the bus. I'll point a couple things out to you as we pass. All right, enjoy, folks. Got a good view up here. We are crossing over the East River, and on the right, that is the Brooklyn Bridge. On the left, that is the Williamsburg Bridge. Also, if you look over to the right, over the water, you may be able to see the Statue of Liberty. My friends in the back, please have a seat. Thank you. As a reminder, folks, we must remain seated at all times.